introduce you and bring to our set Erica Derrickson.
Erica Derrickson, you got it.
Erica, how are you? Welcome to It's All About Arts. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Did you find us okay?
Yeah, I've been to this building before.
Oh, you have? Okay.
I've been on the John Fahey show about three times.
Yeah. Oh, good. Oh, John's a great guy.
Yeah.
That's great. I'm glad that I'm glad you found your way to our program.
Yeah, me too.
Hope John doesn't get upset with us.
It's okay.
Good or not.
It's a non-exclusive agreement I have with John.
Good. That's the best to have. Yeah. You're an actress, but you're also the founder of a very, very interesting organization, East Coast Actors.
Almost. It's called Hollywood East Actors Group.
Hollywood East Actors.
It's a Facebook-based group. It's online. You know,
yeah.
harnessing the power of social media, the fact that everyone's there already all day, and it's essentially a group to support New England actors and filmmakers who are making it happen here at home in New England. It's a place where we have over 7,000 members at this point. People go there to find auditions, to learn about projects that are going on, to meet people, to make friends, just to get advice. This is, especially when it comes to like acting and filmmaking, a lot of people want to get involved, but they don't know how to. They don't know how to get started. They don't know where to go, what to do next, who to talk to.
Right.
And so our group, it's a free resource, and it's essentially kind of like a stepping stone for people who want to get involved in the industry or who are already in the industry and just want to get more connected to the community.
What's the address? Is it Facebook page?
Yeah, it's a Facebook group. It's called Hollywood East Actors Group.
Okay.
If you search on Facebook for me or for the group, you can find it. I'm really easy to find online. That's kind of my thing, is social media. So if you just if you look for Erica Derrickson online, yeah.
Is it just for people who want to work in solenoid, or is it people on the stage too? Is it is it all kinds of actors?
Exactly, it's all kind of actors. You have film actors, you have stage actors, you have union actors, non-union actors.
That's another thing I was going to ask. Is it union?
It encompasses essentially anyone and everyone involved in this local industry. New England, and that includes Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Maine, New Hampshire, Connecticut, some New York, but there are other groups that focus on New York. We're really about keeping the business here, keeping talent here, and encouraging the growth of the film industry here, because I'm a person who well, honestly, I'm just lazy and I don't want to have to move to New York or LA. So I just want to build it. I just want to build it here.
Is New York, I've heard it said, I could be wrong, that if you really want to be serious about it, you got to go to New York.
Sure. Well, it's a great question, and in some ways, yeah, that's true. There's a lot of opportunity in New York. There's a lot of business in New York, and it has been that way for a while. New York and LA are long-standing hubs of this industry. However, I also see that changing. I see that the industry is changing as it becomes sort of decentralized. The power is no longer in the big. Well, there's a lot of power in big studios. Don't get me wrong there. But I see that our industry and our world and the way that content and media is being consumed, it's becoming radically different than what it once was. I mean, if you think about it, movie studios have only been around for 90 years. Right. The internet has only been around for 18 years. Yeah. We're still at the beginning of a transformation in the way that
learning how to use it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, I'm teaching a social media class. We'll tell you about that later.
Okay.
So yes, Boston is becoming a new player on the scene, and I foresee a lot of change happening here in this industry. With the opening of the New England studios out in Fort Devens, now we have our own movie studio here in Boston.
That was to draw some of the left coast people over here.
Exactly. Well, the problem with filming in Massachusetts and New England is great. The problem is with the weather. It makes it very limited, the experience. You can have. Well, not just the weather, but where you can shoot indoors versus outdoors has been an issue for filmmakers. And originally, they were just doing their interior scene. They were coming for the outdoors scenes here in New England, and then they were doing their interiors in a studio in a different location, whether they're transforming a warehouse here or they're taking that production to Los Angeles or another state. Now, that's shifting because now we have our own movie studios, the New England studios. We have... they're going to be total 4 sound stages, and there are further development levels of development. They're going
That's a big place out there.
Yeah, it's very big.
It's a lot of room.
Very big. A lot of room.
There's an Air Force base for crying out loud.
Exactly. So the studio is built. It's up and running now. The phase 1 is complete. I believe there are 4 phases of construction. So we're just at the beginning of it.
Well,
so when you say that, should a serious actor move to New York? Maybe. But I'm a serious actor, and I choose to stay here in Boston and build it here in Boston because I believe that we have a wealth of resources here. And I think that we have a wealth of talent and good people with strong
Hollywood
New
East,
England
right?
work ethics. Exactly, exactly. We are Hollywood East.
So if I get it, my understanding now is that if I'm an actor, and I'm not necessarily struggling as much as maybe want to compare notes and to communicate with other like-minded people and stuff, this is a great place to go.
Absolutely, it's the best place to go in New England. If you want to get connected to, the people who are doing it, in the trenches, this is the place to go.
Well, what we'll do is we'll link that up to our website so that people can just click your name and maybe it'll go right there.
Exactly.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Now, you're an actress. I
am.
mean, this is obviously why you're kind of involved in this. Let me see. What kind of an actress are you?
Ooh, what a great question.
I mean, you're a great actress. Let's get
that
part out of the way. All right, but
goes without saying.
Romantic comedy? Are you drama? Are you horror? I don't see you do much horror.
Oh, I did do one horror film called The Witching Hour, and that one, that one was actually one of my best credits to date. It was Michael Madsen was in it, Tony Todd, William Forsythe.
Oh wow!
There's some rumors.
You didn't get teared to pieces, right? The opening act or something.
I can't tell you, I can't tell you those details. Okay. But it is going to be kind of an interesting premiere.
Oh, it's still to come.
It's still to come. It hasn't been released yet.
This is
which is exciting.
This is exciting.
Oh yeah, I mean, I have a lot of projects that are still in the works.
What else have you done?
Well, I was in The Heat alongside Melissa McCarthy and Sandra Bullock.
That's cool.
There's a scene where Melissa McCarthy, when she's first introduced in the movie, have you seen it?
No, but I will now.
When you watch it, there's a scene when Melissa McCarthy is first introduced. She's busting a dude for picking up a hooker.
Yeah.
I'm that hooker. I'm that hooker.
The things we do for our art, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's great. That's great. There's a lot of students out there watching this show.
Yeah.
They really they tune in here for these kinds of conversations. What goes into that cattle call thing?
Well, there are a lot of different kinds of auditions.
Especially on that level. I mean, if you're going to be standing next to Sandra Bullock, what are you going to do to get there?
That's a great question. There's a lot of misconceptions about it, about how you get auditions and how you get to a role like that. The way that I got to The Heat was it was an audition. It was the very first audition that I got through my agent that I had just signed. I had just signed with this agency called Model Club in Boston. But the only reason, rewind a little bit further, the only reason they signed me was because I came in there with great headshots, with a great resume, because I'd been working my ass off for a while already. So I came in there with a work ethic and already having done the student project. So how do you get to that level? You start with a blank piece of paper, a blank resume, and a desire to do it. Then next thing you do is you get headshots. Next thing you do is ideally you get into an acting class, and what that does is not only does it cultivate your craft, but it also introduces you to people in local industry who are doing it. Some of my best work came from people that I'd met in class who referred me to a filmmaker they knew. Right. One comes to mind is William Diekoff. I met him in my first class at Boston Casting about 2 winters ago, and he referred me to a guy named Raja Samaru, who was casting a film called Melt. It was this beautiful independent short film that was filmed in Rhode Island last summer. It was my first big project, and that came from a class. So get a headshot, get into class, start talking to people, finding out what resources are there, like Hollywood East Actors Group, become involved on social media. So one thing that's so great about being an actor in Boston is there's so many opportunities. I love this. There's so many opportunities to act in Boston because of the wealth of schools that we have here.
Wow.
Emerson Film School, amazing, amazing school. Boston University, even Harvard has film programs.
Sure they do.
So there's no shortage of opportunities to get on set and get experience, which is the most important thing for anyone wanting to start out. So take any jobs you can, which are mostly going to be, at the beginning, a lot of crappy student projects where you're going to stand around for hours and wonder why you're there. But you're going to get pieces of experience, and you're going to build relationships. I always tell people, if you really want to be an actor, cultivate relationships, pursue relationships, not auditions. Because if you're pursuing auditions,
is it who you know?
It's not who you know. It's who cares about you and who you care about. It's I don't want to say it's easy to distinguish yourself, but it's almost easy to distinguish yourself in an industry where everybody just wants something and everybody's asking for something. If you become the person who is cultivating relationships and thinking in terms of, all right, how can I help these people around me?
Right.
Which is what I did when I started the group. You know, that was essentially
someone in the fold's going to say, I know somebody.
Exactly, just because as a result of just being the one who's always there and always helping and who's involved and showing up to meetings, you know, the Massachusetts Production Coalition, Women in Film, there's so many opportunities to get involved.
Has acting always been something you want to do? I mean, were you Dorothy in your high school?
No. Okay. So yes, acting is something I always wanted to do. Is it something I always did? No. In fact, I made more excuses than took actions. In fact, I always wanted to act, but I never put into words because I didn't think anyone would believe in me. I thought that it would immediately encounter resistance, like, you know, oh, that's
what bolt
cute.
of lightning came down and changed that?
Oh, that's cute. Well, what bolt of lightning? It was I couldn't take it anymore. I would watch movies and I would see young women who fit my description, and they would make me angry because it pointed out this great what is it when there's something that's really wrong.
Disservice.
Yes, well, kind of. It pointed
injustice.
Yes, it pointed out this great injustice in my life, that there was something that I felt called to do that I wasn't doing. And so I took a huge leap of faith, and you know, one thing led to another. I ended up quitting my job
that's tough.
almost 2 years ago, and then just, you know, dove headfirst into it.
That's great.
But now I realize that there's a lot I could have done while I had a job. You know, there's a lot that goes on in this industry.
I'm sure that there's theater groups, there's classes, there's just getting the experience.
Auditions. I mean, auditions on the weekends. A lot of projects are shot on the weekends.
Is it unfair to call them cattle calls? Is that something?
Well, there are different kinds of auditions.
Yeah.
A cattle call, what I would refer to a cattle call, is when it's an open call.
Yeah.
You know, there's no screening process. You know, a lot of times, you know, so we held auditions in our studio this weekend. It wasn't for my project, it was for a friend of ours. And what they did beforehand is they had people submit their headshots and resumes. So you kind of pick who you want to come in and audition.
So you cull it out a bit?
There are other auditions that are video submissions where you don't come in, well, maybe you can come in person, but you submit a video of you doing a monologue, or maybe they give you a scene to perform.
Yeah.
And so that's another way of doing an audition. And now, actually, in the way that the industry is changing and it's becoming decentralized from Los Angeles, now video auditions are becoming more prevalent.
I would think so,
because the work is not being done necessarily in Los Angeles. Sure, a lot of it is still being cast in Los Angeles, but it's shifting. It's shifting now.
Well, it's the same thing that's happened to the music business. I mean, it used to be that I'd have to spend all kinds of money to go into this studio to record. We're recording in my basement now, you know, and I mean, you know, you do a little work and stuff like that, but kids are recording in their bedrooms.
Absolutely. It's an incredibly empowering time to be an artist, you know,
it really
because we're no longer waiting for some big entity like a studio or a record label or an agent, you know, come and validate us.
Right.
You know, we can validate ourselves. We can build our own audiences.
Yeah.
That's something that I'm doing now. I've started a daily video blog series. It's because I want to build my own audience. You know, I want to share who I am, and I want to find the people who, you know, who dig what I'm doing.
Is that a YouTube address?
It is a YouTube address. You can find me on YouTube. I'm really easy to find online. Erica Derrickson. I don't have ericderrickson.com. I wish, but someone took it. And that's also the importance of, if you are an artist or content creator, you need to buy your website domain name as soon as possible.
Get it up, Because
not even do you get a site up, just own that parking spot online, you know? Whether or not you bought the car yet, just get the spot before someone else does, you know? Someone bought my site, so I have to be creative about what I...
You mentioned so you'd cull through these headshots. So if an artist rendition of a headshot showed up, you would probably put that over on this side?
Well, that's not a professional headshot.
Well,
you know?
What is a professional headshot?
A professional headshot.
And where do I go to get them?
Exactly. Well, so when most people start out in acting, they make the same mistake that everyone makes, that I made too, is you don't want to invest in any money. So you just go to your friend who's a photographer and you have them take a picture, or you have your mom take a picture, or you take a selfie with it with a phone. And you see the most atrocious thing. And what that tells casting people, what that tells anyone who's in the industry, is that you don't take this seriously. You're an amateur, you're just beginning, blah, 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 blah. So what people need to do is they need to see a professional photographer who has experience in headshots, who is not a wedding photographer, who's not an event photographer.
No, someone who's a portrait photographer.
Not necessarily even a portrait photographer.
Really?
Who is a headshot photographer. Because
what's the difference?
Well, good question.
Portrait and headshot.
I'm a headshot photographer. That's what I do for a living. That's one of the things I do. I run a headshot studio and also an acting studio with some partners. So a headshot is a specific tool to show casting directors and the decision makers in our industry what you look like, what characters you can portray, and a good headshot, you know, can come as a pair of headshots. It can show a range, you know. For you, I would want a headshot that shows you sort of like as a scruff, almost detective, police officer, you know, someone you'd see that and be like, oh yeah, this guy, you know, solves crimes. Yeah. And then maybe I would have another headshot that shows you more of like a, you know, a happy teacher figure. Imagine that, you know, someone who has maybe more of a comical side. So those two pictures, those are very distinct tools that you would use to submit yourself that would then be called in from the casting directors. So people do themselves a great disservice by not investing in the right tools.
Why do I see some headshots in black and white and some in color?
You know, there are different trends that have changed over the years. There are East Coast trends, there are West Coast trends. Now it's predominantly color. Yeah. A lot of like horizontal with a little bit of a cutoff over the head. You know, and those change. You know, sometimes studio lighting is all the rage. Sometimes it's the environmental portraits that are all the rage. You know, but one thing that you'll find in this industry is that, you know, everyone has a different opinion. So for me, what I do is I specialize in just creating headshots that capture that fire, that unique spark in a person's eyes, because that's what I don't want to say what you're selling, but that's your product, you know?
That's what
and
you're
that's
selling.
what you want to get out there.
You absolutely are selling yourself.
I do say, I would say that some people are uncomfortable with those terms, but the reality is that this is a business, and the people who want to get into acting, who want to get into filmmaking, need to realize, the sooner they realize that they're in business, and they need certain business tools, the sooner that they'll find success and they'll have more opportunities.
And it's not always just a pretty face.
No, and that's the beautiful thing about acting is we don't need a bunch of pretty 20-year-olds, you know? Right. We need everybody. We need the big fat guy. We need the little petite Asian girl. You know, we need that range because we're storytellers.
The scruffy detective looking kind.
The scruffy detective. And it's because we're storytellers. And stories, you know, you need all sorts of good characters to tell a story, you know, if you're going to tell any good story. Yeah. So, and that's also the beautiful thing is that you can get into it at any age. You know, it's not a matter of, I held myself back for a long time. I didn't want to get into it because I didn't do any theater, you know. I didn't do this, I didn't do this, I didn't have this, and so I didn't, you know.
Is theater the route, one of the routes?
No, and see, that's the thing, is there's so many paths up the mountain, and each person has to find their own. All you have to do is have the desire and connect with the right people and surround yourselves with people who are empowering, who are making things happen, and, you know, who want to help one another. And that's something that I've done. I've surrounded myself with those kinds of people. I've surrounded myself with other young people in business. You know, now I run two businesses that are ancillary to my passion. So I don't make money from acting per se. I mean, occasionally you'll get a job here and there, but it's not about the money for me. What I do to support myself are the ancillary businesses that run around that acting.
Well, you're still in the business.
But I'm still in the business because I have taken myself seriously. I have identified the needs of the people around me. I have found a way to create value for others in a way that's marketable and that, you know, is valuable.
Is it getting in the way of putting you in the shot?
No, absolutely not. You know, everything that I do, it's really integrated. Everything sort of feeds one another. You know, I don't need every single job. I mean, I'm constantly saying no to jobs.
So if Ron Howard came along, the heck with the brownie that you're taking people's pictures with, right?
What?
So if Ron Howard came along and wanted to put you in one of his movies, and everyone else gets canceled?
No, I mean, if you wanted to put me in one of his movies, I'd be psyched. You know, that'd be great. And I'm sure I would go through the same casting process as everybody else, and that would have nothing to do with my headshot business. The only difference is that I would see a bunch of people in the waiting room who have headshots done by me.
Oh,
like,
really?
hey, looks good.
Hey, looks good as you walk by.
Yeah, nice to see you in action. But for me, I'm not competitive at all. Like I regularly help other, you know, 20s blonde actresses.
But the goal for you is
the goal is to do what I love.
Which is that Ron Howard feature? No,
not necessarily.
Really?
Maybe what I would love to do is create my own web series. You know, maybe what I would. And here's the thing: is that success means a lot of different things to different people. Just being given a big movie role is not what I want. I want to create my own success. I want to create an audience that loves me.
Is directing something you want to do?
No, yes and no. I mean, I've done a little bit of producing, but directing, I'm not sure that that's the leadership role that I would want to take in a production, unless it was my production.
What do those words mean? The director, I know what the director is. He yells at people and But the producer, there's this guy. What does the producer do?
A director directs, an actor acts, a producer
produces?
Yeah. So to be a producer is someone who really connects the dots, who is able to get the resources together in line so the director can do his job. Okay. You know,
so he doesn't have to worry about
the producer does everything so everyone else can do their job, you know? the producer just hooks it all up and makes the connections and helps be the momentum that keeps it together and keeps it moving forward, so you can get to the point where the director can be standing.
That's why his name is pretty big on the roll.
Exactly.
Too, right?
Producers are very, very important.
Yeah.
You know, nothing would happen without producers. And most of the time, a lot of very good producers are women. We have a lot of very good women in this industry. You know, strong directors. You know, Kate Carson is a name that comes to mind.
I don't even think about it that way. Of course, there's got to be.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Right.
A lot of the movers and shakers in this industry are women. Margie Sullivan is the president of the Massachusetts Production Coalition. You know, Carol Patton is the publisher of Imagine magazine.
No.
You know, we have just Lisa Strout. She's the head of the Massachusetts Film Office. Women.
Would a connection with you be someplace where somebody with that kind of hook song should be played during the rollout at the end of a movie? You know, like, well, as the movie is rolling out, there's always some rock song or something, some song going on.
Yeah, so definitely. I think there's a huge opportunity to connect
right now, it's Reverb Nation. They go into Reverb
filmmakers.
Nation, or they go into Our Stage, which is a production site on, you know, Reverb Nation is its own, and they have these opportunities. Submit your song for this. There's a movie coming. There's this. There's that. A commercial coming. Da 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 da. To submit your songs. But is there a part of the industry that really concerns themselves just with that music? No. Not scores. I'm not talking about the score. I'm talking about.
I'm not totally 100% able to answer that question fully myself.
Okay.
But I do know that there are a lot of efforts being made right now to connect the music and film world, and I'm sure soon I'll have more to say about that, but at this moment,
but when you come back,
yeah, sure.
You know, because a lot of the songs that I hear that I fall in love with, I watch the movie all the way to the end. Not only because sometimes they throw some funny stuff at the end, but also because
like
of
the Avengers, the falafel scene, or the shawarma scene, right?
People miss all that.
Love the shawarma.
You know, but that whole music thing, I've discovered a lot of musicians and a lot of songs that way. You know, and I think that's.
It's a great question.
Yeah, that's where I'd want to
learn more. Expand.
Erica, thank you for coming on.
Thanks, Glenn, for having me.
It's been great having you.
It's been a pleasure.
Listen, you got to come back.
Sure.
Okay, and this seems like there's a lot to talk about here.
Yeah.
And bring you had someone that was going to come.
Yeah, I was going to bring.
But I scared them off. What happened again? No, I'm only.
Yeah. Can I just say if people want to get in contact with me?
Absolutely, please.
So if you want to get in contact with me, you can find me on Facebook. You can just search my name, Erica Derrickson, or you can find me on Twitter at Erica D Actress. My branding has been, up to this point, Erica D Actress. So that's me on Twitter. That's me on Facebook. My website is presskit.to/Erica. When you guys put this online on the YouTube, I'll comment and I'll leave all of my links. So if you want to find me, just check out this show on YouTube, and I'll put my links there.
I will send it to you tomorrow. It'll be up at 3 tomorrow afternoon.
Sweet. I'm psyched. Thanks,
it's a pleasure. Thank you very much. Listen, gang, don't go away. We're going to be back in just a couple of minutes. Please, Julie will be up to end this show with us. So you are watching It's All About Arts. We'll be back in just 1 minute. Do not, I repeat, do not go away. There she is. Hammond for the camera.
Yeah.
We'll be right back.
I'm an actress. What can I say?